URL filter is capable of doing a lot of things.
Absolutely. Out of the box, you can do all kinds of things with
Okay.
it.
Is it also true that the architecture of the network has a bearing on what Barracuda can do?
Absolutely. It all depends on how the network is set up.
And is it true that our network architecture is set up in such a way that all SSIDs go through Barracuda in one stream?
That's correct.
And is it true that, given the architecture of the network, that you can't separate what is logged on the guest network versus what is logged on the business network, that you're logging everything, all traffic?
That's correct.
Okay, so one of the issues that we have, and I may not have been clear about this in the past, is there is no way, given the network architecture, to separate this was URLs visited on guest network, this is URLs that was visited on business network. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay, is it also true that guest network traffic, even if our network had a different architecture, which it doesn't, is it also true that the guest network would not separate out BYOD devices from something that I just did right here?
That's correct. There's somebody that has a device out in the audience.
And that would be logged in the guest network, had nothing to do with BYOD.
In an attempt to go to a website, it's blocked, it's recorded on the filter.
Is it true that I could sit out in the parking lot and do that, and it would be logged on, it would go through our filter?
If you could get a signal from,
Yeah, I can.
yes.
So, essentially, regardless of what the Bearcat 310 or Barracuda 310, Bearcat is a scanner, can do, what it can do is a function of the network architecture.
Yes.
Could the the Barracuda filter, given given a different architecture, pinpoint the exact device that URL was visited from?
Yes.
It would be possible for the Barracuda 310 to identify that device right there under a different architecture.
Yes.
The guest network cannot be separated from the business network given our architecture. A different network architecture, a different network design, and perhaps it could be.
Absolutely.
It's not a function of the software, it's a function of the network architecture. And also, even if it could, then we would have no idea whether the traffic on the guest network had anything to do with BYOD or not. And at the very beginning, in terms of the Barracuda 310, you can't separate the two networks from one another, and even if you could, you can't separate the traffic that's BYOD or the traffic that Phil Littlefield's doing when he's sitting at a booth, or that somebody else is doing sitting out there in the parking lot and logging up buses.
So what you're telling me is, if somebody pulls up in the parking lot, they get on our system, send a message that makes it through the Barracuda, we cannot figure out who that was.
Correct.
But they'd have to have a dynamic address. They'd have to be someone that we.
No,
No,
because
I can clarify that.
No.
Can I please just keep to my questions, because I was patient and I waited for Dr. Littlefield.
I thought you had just asked a question.
No, I
I'm
had a
sorry.
couple, and that's why I wanted to kind of go over that. So the question to that was, we could not find out who that person was.
That's the question?
Yes.
Okay. If we wanted to, we could. If somebody comes on the network with a device, they have to accept the terms and conditions. They get to the guest network, and on the wireless controller, there's policies that are applied to that SSID, which is that guest network, and they cannot access any internal business functions. We block all the protocols that would allow that on the firewall of that controller. So, no, they wouldn't be able to access anything internally.
That's not what I asked though. What I asked is if somebody pulled up in the parking lot, sent a message from our network, got through the Barracuda, say they emailed the police department, or went on and logged into a website that they were allowed to and said something. Something that would raise a red flag by the content of the message. I'm not going to get into threats or anything like that. What you're saying is, if we have no way to try to decipher whether that came from a staff member, guest network, or somebody in the parking lot.
Essentially, they're filtered just like anybody else's content.
No, but what I'm asking you is, if something got through, do we have a way to backtrack to find out who did it? And what you're saying is we don't.
I mean, we've got IP addresses that go through, but that person would get a new IP address.
But we can't trace it back.
Technically, it's filtered just like anything else, so no, we wouldn't.
Okay. So
But what would the concern be, I guess, is the question. What would the concern be?
the concern, there's a few concerns.
Okay.
Because if there was a threat that was sent out of the school district, and there was a reason to want to backtrack that, you're saying that we can't do that. We wouldn't know if it was a staff member or a child or anything else. So that concerns me. So I have a question. Isn't it true that we could create what is referred to as a blacklist and a whitelist so that when a device tried to come on the network, you could say, you can come on because we recognize your device because it was registered with us, or no, we're not going to let you come on?
Okay, you're asking two questions. One is about a device, and one is about a policy applied to that device. So on a content filter, you have a blacklist and a whitelist. It's self-updating. Every night it updates thousands of definitions on its own. In addition to that, I can put in to the content filter sites that we want to block, which we do all the time. Now, if you're asking about if I can say, no, this device can't get on, there's absolutely ways that you could set that up on the network and block that particular device. Yes, you can do that. Do we do that? No. But if I wanted to, yes, I could.